and welcome back to the channel. Miss Crocheting Coffee here, and today we're doing a little late night whip and chat with Miss Coffee. We're doing a late night whip and chat because my week has just been crap already, and there's no recording through the day today. So usually I record my whip and chats on Monday mornings while the kids are busy with their homeschooling, and I'm playing Betty Crocker and trying to live that, wholesome, stay-at-home mom life. No. Listen, no. For all those folks that are, sitting back and watching this and they're like, oh, Miss Coffee must have a perfect life. No, I do not. Today proves that. Let's just talk about this no good, very bad day. So last night, let's start with here. I have insomnia. Let's say it together now. Insomnia. Meaning I don't sleep. And when I do sleep, I only require 3 to 4 hours of sleep to make it feel like I've slept for 8 hours. I then will take maybe a 45-minute nap throughout the day, and I am a highly functioning human. Now, does that really affect anything that I do? Not really. I don't get it either. It baffles me. I don't get it. The doctor doesn't get it either because she thought that was part of the reason why I had the stroke last year was because I wasn't getting enough sleep, and that was causing the migraines, and I maybe needed more sleep, which is why she put me on sleeping pills. Now, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, Miss Coffee, just take some melanin. That'll soothe you to sleep." Look, no. You don't understand. I am hyperactive, high-functioning bipolar type 1. Normal things to normal people don't work for me. Hook-a-did on phonics did not work-a-did for me, okay? So I drink coffee all day. Literally, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm drinking a cup of coffee. Why? Because it puts me to sleep. It soothes my insides. Now, I will drink it throughout the day. It doesn't keep me awake. It actually makes me tired, but I still like the taste of it, so I drink it. And I don't drink water. Like, it's gross. There's no flavor to it. Don't come at me in the comments, okay? I know. Drink more water, drink more. I'm not drinking. I already have to take a horse pill every morning for vitamins, okay? Like, Mr. Coffee couldn't be bothered to get me vitamins that were gummies like the kids. They get Flintstones vitamins that are gummies. When did that happen? We had to take the chalky little pill as a kid. The kids nowadays so soft, they get gummies. Where's my gummies? And why do I have to take the horse pill that's this size? And they're like, go ahead and swallow it whole. Don't chew it. No. Anyways. So I have insomnia. So last night, it was the first time I went to bed before 4 a.m. Why? Because I have insomnia. That's why. I'm up late. Am I usually doing anything? Not really. I'm enjoying the quiet. Okay, you hear that? Look, listen. You hear that absolute nothingness? It's the best part of my day. The best part of my day is not hearing somebody call me mommy 35 times a day just to say hello to me, even though they've seen me all mother flipping day. Look, I love my kids. I love my family. I love my life. But there are times where you want to choke the life out of everybody in your house. That is where Miss Coffee is right now. All right, let me explain. So I didn't sleep well. Every 2 hours I was up. I slept probably a total of 4 hours, got up, when Mr. Coffee got up to go to work. Well, he got up and he's like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, I am up. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? I don't know. Things that I would normally do when I'm up. like I'm not allowed to get up when he gets up for work. So he starts getting ready and, doing his thing. I'm still laying in bed. I'm just looking at my phone, checking my emails, because I get like 75 emails in the night. So I was checking my emails, and come on. I think I need more wax. It's rejecting all of them. There we go. So I'm checking my emails, and he leaves for work. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get up. I'm going to make this a productive day. Now, every once in a while, I'll have one of those days where I'm like, I'm going to be the Betty Crocker of the day. And then there's days where I'm like, oh, shit. I ain't get nothing done. So I got up this morning and I'm like, I'm going to record my whip and chat, and then I'm going to walk the dogs because I had enough time to record a whip and chat, walk the dogs, wake Orion up for class, get him in class, then, piddle foot around till Maggie had to wake up, possibly wake her up early so she can get started earlier on her schoolwork. And then we would sit and make cookies after they were done, and we would just have like some good wholesome mommy kid time, you know, just me and the kiddos, because it seems like all we do nowadays is work, always doing homework, work. Look, I'm tired of doing homework. I'm tired of looking at math problems. I don't math good. So, yeah, I got up. I started recording my whip and chat. Every possible thing that could go wrong was going wrong. First, my phone, apparently, because I had been looking at it so much, the battery started dying. And I'm like, great, well, I'll just plug it up. Now, with the new lazy arm that I got, my phone has to sit in a certain way, because if you weren't in my live, the way I explained it, my phone now sits long ways in it instead of it grabbing the sides of it. It now grabs the top and bottom of my phone. Well, I have one of those stupid phones with the camera that jets out 5 feet from the phone. So it has to sit in there a certain way just so you can see what I'm doing. It's not fun for anyone. So, I can't put my charger in it because it has to sit in the middle of the thing, which blocks the port where my charger would go. So I was like, well, there goes that idea. And I'm thinking, hold up, I have 5 sublimation mugs. I'm going to sublimate some stuff while the kids are sleeping. Problem is, you ever have too many choices? Yeah, that's a thing. I'm sitting here for an hour trying to figure out the choices for these cups. I made 1 cup in an hour. Yeah. The alarm went off on the Echo, and it was just like, it's time to wake up. And then it started playing like Lizzo. And I'm like, all right, Lizzo, look, listen. You couldn't give me another 5 minutes? I'm just saying, I almost had this. I didn't almost had it. I still, after I woke Orion up, sat there for another 20 minutes trying to figure out what pattern I wanted to put on the frickin' cup. Anywho. So, I'm like, okay, well, I didn't get my whip and chat done, but that's fine, because, you know, I have all day. Mr. Coffee will probably be at work all day. He didn't have a job today, but I figured one would call in while he was at work, because even if he doesn't have a job Monday through Friday, he still has to report into his job to do maintenance on his truck and his tools and make sure everything's set and ready for the next time he does have a job. So I'm thinking, oh, well, he'll be out all day. The kids will go out and play, and I'll have the whole day to go and record this whip and chat, because I like to do it on Mondays just because that's in my groove. That's my thing. That's what I do. Unless he has off on a Monday or something, and then I will record on a Sunday or a Saturday or something. That hasn't happened yet, but I'm just saying. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, well, let me go ahead and get the kids up for school. I get Orion up. Orion's usually really lovey-dovey in the morning. He loves on his mommy. He'll eat his breakfast. He'll come give me a hug. He'll ask me if I need anything. I'll tell him no. I'll let him get settled and in class. Once he starts talking to his teacher, I let him know, hey, I'm going to go walk the dogs. Are you going to be okay? He's like, yep. So then I went and walked the dogs. And then I'm thinking to myself, all that time I wasted looking up sublimation patterns, why didn't I walk the dogs? Crap. So there was time wasted. Then I get back, and it's not quite time to wake up Maggie yet, but I'm like, you know what? She's going to be a ruthless monster. It's Monday. Oh, it's another manic Monday. So I was like, all right, we're going to go ahead and wake up Maggie. So I go in and I open her blinds like this is some kind of Disney cartoon. And I'm like, good morning, princess. She looks at me like she's some kind of evil villain. And she's like, Mom, go away. Look, listen, you're 8 years old. I will chuck you out this window, little girl. Get your tail out of that bed. So she's like, Mommy, I want to make my own toast. I'm like, okay, go make your own toast. Now, I have to watch the kids because I don't know who they're going to take after in the kitchen. The last time I really let Mr. Coffee in the kitchen before we moved here, he blew the cabinets off he blew the cabinets off the wall in my kitchen, trying to make toast. Something happened to the toaster. It exploded and it blew the cabinets off my wall. So I'm trying to decide which parent they take after. Okay. So I'm like, all right. I go to sit down for a few minutes because it's, when you wake her up, you got to give her some time to get her bearings before she's actually awake. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at designs again. And I'm just like, I'm going to teach you guys a little trick here if you didn't already know. So first thing you do is you find a nail file. Okay. Look at that, a nail file. Give me that nail file. So you find a nail file. I thought I had one on my table here. So for those of you who don't know, and you use, that one doesn't want to come out, and you use these little white multi-placers, and then they sometimes will, oh, drop nails. It sometimes will get to a point where there's ridges in the multi-placer. Now, this is not my idea. This came from Becky's Madness from Crafting. She came up with this last year or the year before last or some crap. She's the one that realized that you should do this. This is where I got it from. I don't know who you got it from, but I know where I got it from. I give credit to people. Anyways, you just you file it down to get those ridges out. Make it nice and smooth again. And you can refill it with wax. I'm going to put some more wax in there. And see, now it's all straight again. No more ridges. Yeah. Keep those nail files, ladies. So, anyways. So I'm sitting here on the couch. And Maggie is, you know, getting her bearings together. Orion's chilling in his room. And my phone rings. And I'm like, oh, okay, who's calling me this early in the morning? One, my dad calls me 10 minutes before I was supposed to get up. Luckily, I was already awake, because if not, I would have been highly upset, because it was literally 10 minutes before I was supposed to wake up. But, I get a phone call, and I'm like, who's calling me this early in the morning? Like, for real? And it's the vet's office. Killian had an appointment today. So they're like, are you able to come in early? And I'm like, depends on how early you would like me in. And I'm thinking, boy, it would have been nice to have him home to get this over with so I can take these pants off. So they're like, could you come at 10 o'clock? I look at the time. It's 9:45. It takes me a good 5-10 minutes to get dressed to go out of the house, let alone to get ready to go out to be seen by other people. So I'm like, yeah, no, that's not happening. Maybe if you would have called half an hour earlier, I could have made that happen. But since you waited until 15 minutes before you want me to come in, yeah, no, we will see you at 2 o'clock. Like, it's like, oh, okay, that's fine. We were just checking. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you were. So hang up with them, get Maggie up, make sure everybody has their pills taken, make sure the dogs are good. And then comes the storm. So homeschooling. I hate it. I'm not cut out for homeschooling. I'm not cut out to be a parent. Today was the first time I looked at my daughter and went, it might be time to send you back to regular school. Look, listen, by the end of the day today, it took me 2.5 hours to go through 4 problems with Maggie. So what is Maggie like on her bad days? Maggie is defiant. Maggie is a hellion. Maggie is whiny. She is adorable, do not get me wrong, but do not let that adorableness fool you. Maggie is still a child. She acts as if she is a child, which of course she is, but she was essentially not wanting to do her work. Now, what Maggie likes to do is she likes to play like she doesn't know anything at all, and then tries to con you into doing her work for her by, you know, laying on the cute extra thick, okay? Like thick with 3 C's. What she doesn't realize, or what she does realize, is mommy never falls for it. So she doesn't like mommy when mommy comes and has to do homeschooling with her every day. So she will sit and fuss and cry and whine and I don't want to do this. And at this point, I'm trying everything in my power not to lose my ever-loving mind, because I love this child, and you have to keep that mantra, I love this child, I love this child, so that you don't hurt them or yourself. So I'm like, I love this child, I love this child, and she's like, Mommy, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, I don't want to do it either, but I'm not going to sit here and, you know, spend all day doing this. I got stuff to do today, okay? And I'm, of course, thinking about my whip and chat. And I'm like, I don't want to be sitting here till 4 o'clock doing math problems. I got to do a whip and chat. 2.5 hours to do 4 math problems because she absolutely refused to do her work. All of a sudden, Maggie has forgotten simple math. I asked this girl what 2 + 1 was. She said 6. I said, in what weird universe do you live, tiny human? That is telltale sign that she doesn't want to do her work. She won't essentially think of an answer. She'll just blurt out what the first thing that comes to her mind. Like, it's not even like she's guessing at this point. It's because guessing takes effort. She just blurts out. Like, I could say, what's 1 + 1? And she'd be like, tomatoes. And I'm like, what? And she'll be like, tomatoes. I like tomatoes. What does that have to do with what 1 + 1 is? Anywho. So, I'm sitting there, and she is just refusing to do her work. And then my son comes out of his room, and he's like, Mom, can I get a snack? Now, take it, by this time, Orion has been doing his work diligently for the last God knows how many hours. I kind of forgot. A lot of the times, I forget Orion's in his room when he's doing schoolwork, because, like, he'll build a little cave for himself, and he'll get all nestled in, and he'll just sit there, and he did a 2-page paper today on why he likes video games. Hey, it's the determination for me. So I was just like, way to go, dude. You want to help me with your sister? He goes, no. And just walks away. I'm like, you know what, little traitor. And Maggie's like, I want Orion to help me. I love him. And he, like, pops his head out of the room. I love you, too, as a sister. Like, he has to put that indication of as a sister in there. Because, for some reason, Maggie seems to think that she's going to marry Mr. Coffee or her brother. And I'm like, I hate to tell you, this is not, no, that's not happening. Like, we're not in those types of streets, okay? And then I find out, where she tells me that window friend has a crush on Mr. Coffee. I'm like, do not have me playing fisticuffs with children, okay? I will fight a small child for my husband. Obviously, I'm joking, and she goes and tells Riley this, and Riley's like, I'll fight you for your husband. Look, chick, sit your 2-pound self down somewhere before I sit it down, okay? You're not even my kid. Get the hell out of here. So, we spent the majority of the morning fussing back and forth about her doing her schoolwork and why she needed to do her schoolwork, and she fussed at me because she didn't want to do her schoolwork. And then my knight in greasy oil armor came in, and he's like, hey, hun. One, again, for those folks who don't know, my husband works at a company that is very Republican. As he says, they're racist. So they don't know about me. Don't worry about it. But so whenever he comes home early, or if he doesn't have a job and he doesn't tell me he doesn't have a job, or I don't see my phone where he says he's coming home, I'm like, hey, did you get fired? And he's like, no. Okay, how was your day? Like, you got to go through that whole thing first, because if you don't, I never know. And there's been times, there was one time that he came home and he had been fired, and I've been traumatized ever since. So anytime he comes home earlier than I expect him, the first question out of my mouth is, did you get fired? It's real out here in these streets, folks. Okay, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I can't afford to have him not working. Okay, we're already trying to save up as best we can to buy a house, and then for him to lose this job, no, ma'am, no ham, no turkey. So I was like, all right, cool. He got some new boots today, which I don't think his boss is racist. I just think the butthole that he works with is racist. He's hella racist. He also told Mr. Coffee one day when I was telling Mr. Coffee that I wanted him to help me take out the trash, that he needs to put me in my place. Now, it's misogyny for me. Anyways, that might not have been the right word. We're not talking about it. Anyways, so he comes home and he sees my face and he's just like, what is going on? And I'm like, your daughter, get her. I need 5 minutes. I went outside without a jacket on, y'all. It was like 30 degrees. I went outside without a jacket, and I just stood there and let myself freeze to death. Because at this point, I would rather freeze to death than to come back in here and deal with another 2 hours of doing her homework with her. But, Maggie doesn't have a problem doing homework for Daddy. Now, this kills me, okay? It really kills me. Maggie will sit here all day like she did today, fuss, muss, whatever, and won't do her schoolwork. For me, the moment she sees her dad, she's a freaking rocket scientist. She's like, Daddy, I know the answer. This is this and that is that. And I'm like, how in the holiest of... Mr. Coffee's always like, I don't see how you had such a problem out of her. She seems to do just fine. I'm like, you know what? No, she doesn't. So I explained to him what she was doing before he walked in the house, and she's looking at him with those big doe eyes, and she's like, I was being nice to Mama, Daddy. Girl, when did you become a Southern Belle? Shut up. Yeah, and Mr. Coffee, luckily enough, doesn't fall for it. And he's like, were you not doing your work for your mom? And she's like, no, Mommy was being mean and yelling at me. And I was being mean and yelling at her because she literally refused to do her work, and I needed her to get it done because she had other assignments to do, and I didn't want to sit there all day. The longest we sat with her having a fit was 8 o'clock at night doing homework. I'm like, school lets out at 3. We've been doing this for an extra 5 hours. I feel like I'm the one being punished here, okay? So he came home. She got her work done within, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. She finished the rest of the work that she had. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to take a break from this. And then I realized, and the echo went off and told me too. They're like, you know, it's time to take the dog to the vet. And I'm like, oh, perfect. I get to go on a car ride. I get to get out of the house. Now, look, listen, I haven't left my house or driven my car since the day before Christmas. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with not leaving the house. That doesn't bother me. I can sit in this house all day. Why wouldn't I? All my stuff is here. I'm comfortable here. I can sit around in my sweatpants here and nobody's going to judge me. And if they do, I can tell them to, like, you know where to go. So I had to go to the vet. And Mr. Coffee doesn't take the dogs to the vet because he doesn't know any kind of medical history or know what questions to ask whenever it comes time to ask the vets, questions about the dogs. So I take the dogs to the vet and to the groomers because he would have them shave Killian bald, and you can't shave Siberian Huskies bald. And I'm like, not that Mr. Coffee's not smart. He's never had to deal with it before because I had the dogs with me in Pennsylvania when he lived here. So by the time he saw the dogs, Daisy was a year old. Nope, I lied. Daisy was 6 months old the first time he saw her. Killian was 8 or 9 months, almost a year. So, yeah, he's never had to really deal with like groomers or vets, and I don't have time to teach him. Like, it's fine. I'd rather do it myself because he does give me those random sporadic times to leave the house. So I get, the vet tells me that they're not going to be at their normal location, that they're going to be at the groomers. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, the groomers. Now take it. I haven't left besides to go get like groceries or prescriptions, I have not left my house. I was still pretty new here when the pandemic hit. Even though I had been here for a year, I hadn't ventured out to go sightseeing, as my dad would call it. Why? Because the last time I ventured out to go to the UPS, I ended up in Montana. For those folks who don't know, I live in Williston, North Dakota, at the tippy top of North Dakota, where you can make it to the Canadian border in like 40 minutes or to the Montana border in 20 minutes. I had Burger King for lunch that day, so it wasn't that bad of a trip. Anywho, so I hadn't ventured out, so I don't know these roads as well as, say, I don't know, Mr. Coffee, who travels them every day, all day, in his big old boy truck. So they're like, we're at the dog groomers. And I'm like, okay, I know that dog groomer because that's where I take my dogs to get groomed. So I'm like, all right, bet. I'll see you at 2 o'clock. For once in my life, I was actually on flipping time. I go to the dog groomers, and I thought I was going to get murdered. Now, with that said, if you guys don't remember, or if you don't have Instagram, I shared a TikTok of a girl making this resin thing. Now, you guys know Miss Coffee's all about self-defense, all about women's rights, and, Black Lives Matter. If you don't get down with it, get the hell off my page, all that fun stuff. Anywho, so I have a new keychain, which I'm trying to get off the thing here. This is my new keychain. Isn't it cute? It's a little kitty cat. You'll see it in What You Got Wednesday. Don't worry. I have another one coming. So this is my kitty cat defense keychain. And you're probably like, defense? Defense of what? So what you do is essentially you stick your fingers in its eyes, and it's now a stabby toy. Now I can shank somebody when I feel like I'm in danger. And so I will have this on my, I had this on my keys. I actually had it sitting over here because Maggie kept trying to stab herself with it. Anywho, so I had it on my keys earlier, and I took Killian to the vet, or to the groomer's office. Not knowing that the groomer moved. It's not like they sent out a mass text or email. So I was just like, well, where is and there was a note on the door that says, new location, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe the vet, because the vet does, he has an RV that he travels in. It's a pretty decent sized RV. And he does house calls. And you can also just meet him at his house. Don't worry, he looks like he might murder you, but he won't. But you can meet him at his house, and him and his wife both are veterinarians, and they each have an RV, and they travel around our area, doing stuff for dogs and cats and all kinds of animals. So I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe this is their new office. So I opened the door, and it looked like something out of a horror film. Now, the black lady in me said, run for your life. The other black lady in me said, why are you still standing there looking around, waiting for somebody to pop out the back room? You see the room is gutted. Get the out. So I got out of the building, and I look at the sign, and I call the number back for the vet's office, and I'm like, hey, I'm at the groomers, but it looks like they moved. Where are you guys? And they're like, we're at the new office that the groomers have. Now, apparently, the vet people thought that, like most people in this town who don't think the virus is real, they just assumed that I had known that the groomers had moved. And I'm like, I had no idea. I haven't left my house, really, in a good 9 months. So I had no idea. My dogs get groomed once a year, maybe twice, depending on how, many adventures they go on. So, because you don't want to do too much more than that. They kind of do it themselves. So yeah. And unless it's really bad, they get really stinky or something. Yeah, they get groomed once or twice a year. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, where is the new groomer's office at? Because I have no idea. I didn't even know that they moved. And I'm glad I found out that they moved, because I was just about to call them to do a de-shedding treatment on the dogs. It's not even really de-shedding. Essentially, they brush and blow them out, and then shampoo them in the shampoo that stops the shedding from being so bad for about 6 months. And then it's like, oh, holy hell breaks loose in your house. And then it's like dog glitter all over the place. Anywho, so I'm sitting there, and they're telling me, yeah, we're at the new office that the vet has, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, would you mind sharing with the rest of the class where the office is so that I can come meet you for my doctor's appointment for my dog? And the vet's like, yeah, we're over here, and we're over by Culverson's. And I'm like, or Culver's. I'm like, what the hell is Culver's? I'm like, what is that? And he's like, Jiffy Lube? Jiffy Lube? What? What? I haven't been on that side of town in over a year. My car gets serviced once a year because I drive it maybe 3 times. I've driven my car maybe 6 times since the pandemic happened. I'm not even joking. So I'm like, okay, can I remember how to get the Jiffy Lube? And then, of course, I have my phone with me, but I'm recording for the Patreons because I think, well, this will be a fun trip to take the Patreons with. And if I get lost, they are a witness that I got lost. So I'm recording, and I'm trying to find the vet's office, and they're like, look for Culver's or something. And I don't know why I was thinking this restaurant was called Cold Stone, because we just got one of those in town, but it's down the street from the house. And I'm sitting there where the hell is this vet thing? It would have been nice of them to tell me this, because of course the one time I'm on time for something, they're like, yeah, no, you're not going to be on time. You're now going to be late because we're not at the place where you think we are. They didn't even bother to ask me if I realized or knew that the place moved. There's a town meeting I missed or some crap. So I'm just okay, I'm going to try to find this. I finally find it, and I almost crashed my car because right where the office is, there's a big sign that says Anna's Groom Room. And I'm like, oh, cool, sweet. I got to go turn and then realize if I would have made the turn, there's a piece of concrete about this big, about the thin of my patience, and then there's a big ditch. And I'm like, well, how the hell am I supposed to get over there? Because then there's a gate and the vet's or the groomer's office. And I'm like, well, how the hell am I supposed to get over there then? Luckily, I see a truck coming out of one of the side streets. And I'm like, okay, maybe if I go up there, I can then come back to go to the vet's to see where the vet is. Well, I do that. And I find the groomer's office, and you know, the lady's like, "Oh, you found us," and I'm like, "Yeah, it would have been better if you gave me better directions, but you know, whatever." So yeah, we get in and they take a look at Killian, and they're like, you know, how's he doing? I'm like, he's doing fine. He's not itchy anymore, and but the problem I was having was the fact that the hair on Killian's face hasn't been growing back. Now, if you remember, last June, I had to start taking my dogs to the dog park where I live. And we don't take the dogs to the dog park in my complex because there's something wrong with the dog park. It's covered in mold and dog poop. Nobody cleans it. Nobody checks up on it. It's just disgusting. And of course, the lazy residents here with those cute little tiny poodle dogs, and they're like, "Ah, my toy poodle," and all this crap. They don't feel that they should have to clean up after their dogs, so they don't. So it's a cesspool for germs. And the last time that we stopped going was because we found out that one of the dogs in the building had parvo. So we stopped going, and now we go across the street. Which, if you watched the vlog with the family, you would have seen that. And I'm sitting there, and Killian's been, like, sick ever since. He's had an infection that just will not go away. It just will not stop. It will move. It went from the top of his nose to all over his nose to up by his eyes, and now on the top of his head. So every time we take the dog into the vet's office, I don't like going because I usually end up spending around $160 every visit. He's been to the doctors now, 6 times? And I'm like, now you're ripping me off. Like, this is what's happening because you keep charging me all this money for medications and stuff that I don't think I need. But I'm not a vet, so how do I know if I need it? So I go in, and they're looking at Killian, and they're like, you know, he's doing better. The hair's not growing back, and I see there's another patch of infection here on his head. And I'm like, yeah, which makes no sense because it doesn't make any sense because that's where he scratched his head open one day when we went to Walmart, and where he scratched himself open at was covered in hair, and then the rest of it around it was bald. Like, he looked like a middle-aged man. And I used to call him old man because he looked like a little old man. Well, they're like, would you mind if we shaved it? And they just shaved this big patch on the top of my dog's head. And they're like, that's the infection right there. We got to get rid of that. Let's get you some creams and ointments and stuff. And I'm like, oh, great. So they get me all this medication and everything. And they're like, is there anything else you're worried about with Killian? No, I'm scared to see what the bill is going to be now. $200. And I'm like, what the hell is $200? $200 for a vial of medication. I'm not even joking you. That's this big. It was $75 for ointment for my dog's head. Then they gave me a shampoo. Now, I wasn't paying close attention when they gave me this shampoo. I'm going to need some more 3865. But I wasn't paying too close of attention when they gave me this shampoo. Now, you guys know Miss Coffee has allergies. She's allergic to, like, life. So, I'm going to show you guys what I do. Because I did get my order in from Tmall. I got my sparklers in. So what we're going to do is we're going to bust open this new bag of drills. Because I'm out of 3865. So we're going to pour that in. Get that nice and in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open up our sparklers. Right, white ABs. And what I like to do, you don't got to follow what I do. You can do whatever you want to do. That's your business. I like to, you know, mix it in there like seasoning. Like, you got to season your 3865. And you shake it around in your tray. It looks like rice, doesn't it? You shake it around in your tray. Then you take your boat. And you pour most of it back in your boat. Because you don't need all them drills in your tray. I'm just saying, that's too many drills. Like, alright. And don't worry, if you're wondering where the tray came from, or the really beautiful rose gold pen. Rose gold seems to be my favorite color nowadays. If you're wondering where all this beautiful stuff comes from, I will link it down in the description box. And if I don't, just yell at me. I'll go back and link it. So I'm sitting there, and the reason I do that is because then they're mixed in. So I'm not doing huge patches of ABs. Now it's a mixture of ABs. So it's not overwhelming with ABs. It's just a nice mixture of ABs. It's just real chill with the ABs. Anyways, so I'm sitting there, and $290 later, Killian was done at the vet. I'm like fuming because he literally did nothing. Like nothing. He looked at my dog, prescribed me 3 medications, and then was like, he's all set. $200.90. I was livid. Okay. The medicine, and like I said, I wasn't paying attention to what he gave him. He told me what the medicines were. He didn't tell me what was in them. He told me that I was going to have to start shampooing Killian's head to try to get some of the infection off. Okay, cool, bet, whatever. I'll do whatever I have to do for my dogs. They're my dogs. They're like my kids, but mouthier. So I get in the car and I drive home, and I get home and I open up the bag because it's always in a brown paper bag. Like, I'm starting to wonder if my vet is an alcoholic because he always has these little brown paper bags. It's in a brown paper bag. He gives it to me. I open it up and I'm like, oh no. Oh no, 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 no. And Mr. Coffee's like, what? How'd it go? I'm like, Killian comes running around the corner. Because, of course, he missed Daddy because Mommy had to take him to the vet. So he missed Daddy. So he goes and runs over to Mr. Coffee. Mr. Coffee goes, what did he shave now? Why does he keep shaving our dog? Now, if it's not already inconspicuous that our dog had something wrong with it because his whole face was missing fur, now my dog has to rock a bald spot until the hair decides to grow back. So he literally has a bald spot that was shaved into his head right at the top of his ear. And so I hate when they do that because it makes it look like there's something wrong with him. And when people see him, they're like, ew, what's wrong with your dog? I hate that. I really do. Anyways, I open the bag and I notice that there's a little bottle of shampoo in there, and I go to look at it. It cost me that one cost me $86. And I'm like, I can't use this. What the hell? Now, when the vet gave me the medication for Killian, he didn't tell me that the medication had sulfur in it. I'm not 100% sure on what sulfur is. I am 100% sure I'm definitely allergic to it. So I'm like, Shenanigans. Like, I can't use like all those special like Selsun blues and stuff like that because I'm allergic to sulfur. And I'm like, I'm going to have to call the vet back. I can't use this. Like, there's no gloves that's going to save my life from dying from, being exposed to this. So, right before I call the vet back, I guess Mr. Coffee was like, well, I guess I'll have to do it then. I'm like, okie dokie. I'm like, here's the ointment for his eyes. And he's like, for his eyes? Apparently, he has me giving him eye drops before which it's Killian. So, imagine trying to give Killian eye drops before you wash his head in this shampoo stuff that essentially is medicated. Oh yeah, this is going to be real fun. Get ready for those stories. So, I was just like, well, if you can do it. But one thing I did notice on my way home that made me extremely happy, because I was extremely frustrated on my way to the vet's office because of all the stuff that had happened, I found that we just got a new dollar store. Apparently, Williston thought in the middle of a pandemic, this would be a great time to put in a dollar store. Look, listen. I'm going to the dollar store tomorrow. We're going to see what they have to offer in this dollar store because that is the one and only dollar store I've ever seen in Williston. So, I was pretty happy about the dollar store, so I was telling Mr. Coffee about it, and he's like, hun, that bodega has been there for forever. I'm like, no, it actually has a sign on it now, because it was like a little bodega where they sold like little odds and ends of this and that, and like fly swatters and stuff. And I'm like, no, it has a legit sign on it now that says dollar store. He goes, I'm pretty sure it doesn't say dollar store. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. It says the dollar store. And he's like, thank you. And he goes, yeah, I know it was there. Now, when I tell you I wanted to murder my husband, just know I mean it in the utmost respectful. No, I lied. I meant it in the most disrespectful way. I was about to murder him for as much as he knows, 1, his wife loves cheap stuff. 2, I love the dollar store. 3, it's one of the things I missed about being in Pennsylvania, besides like my kid and my dog, is the dollar store. We used to have 3 dollar stores in the vicinity of 5 miles. Now we have none. Well, now we have 1. So I'm like, how dare you not tell me about the dollar store? How could you live with yourself knowing every day that there's a dollar store in this town and you didn't tell me? And he goes, because I didn't want to be broke. Look, listen. Why you assume we're going to be broke? You know what happens when you make assumptions, right? Well, now that I'm back in the house and the dog's back in the house and I was, $200 broker, Me and Mr. Coffee were sitting here, and you probably noticed, oh, look, Miss Coffee's got different nails on. Ain't they cute? They're so cute. I love them. And you're probably like, Miss Coffee, did you hurt yourself? Did you Freddy Krueger yourself again? No, I didn't. Let me explain. So I got back in the house, and me and Mr. Coffee were talking and, doing whatever. And we were sitting there wrestling back and forth and running and hitting each other, just playing. The kids were kind of in their rooms doing their things. Maggie was cleaning up her room because her room was a freaking pigsty. And Orion was kind of doing his thing in his room, finishing up homework. So I'm like messing around with Mr. Coffee. Not like that, you dirty birds. And look, listen, I don't math, okay? I don't know how to count, so I miscalculated my hand motions, okay? And I got a big handful of man meat, and I didn't mean to, and I might have clawed like one side of the man meat, and it might have hurt. I've never heard my husband squeal like that before. He immediately made me take them off. Now, normally I don't listen to my husband when he tells me to do things, but the fact that he was almost in tears on the floor in the fetal position, making a very high frequency noise out of his face, I was like, I'm just sitting there, I should probably just take these off. I was being cute for live. I was trying to be cute for my subscribers, but maybe I can be cute with shorter nails on. So I had to take the nails off. And, yeah, don't worry. Mr. Coffee's fine. He doesn't, it's not like he's using it right now. He's not having any more children. So, like, it doesn't matter if it gets hurt every once in a while. Just, it lets him know it still works. Just, sometimes you gotta test it. Anywho, enough about Mr. Coffee's man meat. So, yeah, it was just a bad day. And then, like, when I came back, I had to finish up Maggie's homework with her because then Mr. Coffee sat down to do his homework. And he had a bad night last night because his homework assignments are now getting harder. For those folks who don't know, Mr. Coffee goes to school for mobile development. And so he's been in school since late last year. And I think he's on his like 8th class or something. I don't know. I don't keep track of how many classes he takes. He just will tell me when he starts and finishes them. So the one class now that is getting harder is like the teacher is strict, and he's like, if you turn in a homework assignment 1 minute late, you get a 0, no late assignments accepted. So Mr. Coffee is like on a time crunch because between work, home life, and, everything else he has to do, he had to get his homework done yesterday. So, which was good that he had off on Sunday because he did spend all day trying to do it before the deadline at 11 o'clock our time. He didn't make the deadline, so he got his first 0, and I had to deal with that, and he was upset, and I'm like, I know you're upset, it's okay, you gotta do like you do the kids, it's alright, you can make it up, you just make sure you do better next time, and he was fine, and then he found out today that in fact, the teacher would accept the assignment late because it was his first assignment. So he went ahead and spent the afternoon trying to figure out what was going wrong, because now he's actually in the process of developing an actual app. They had to brainstorm an idea and then come up with an actual app that they're kind of creating. So he had to figure out, because there was something going wrong with whenever you press the options, it wouldn't let you do anything. It just kept giving you an error code. And I don't know any of that because anytime I see it, my brain immediately gets diarrhea and I fall out on the floor. So I don't really pay attention to that. So I'm just sitting there like, all right. And so he's doing his homework, and I'm like, well, I'll help Maggie finish up her homework, and then she can be done for the day. And she's like, then I can go play? I'm like, after the way you treated me this morning, no ma'am, no ham, no turkey. You're not going to go play. You are going to play Let's Clean Up Our Room super fast before mommy loses her ever-loving mind. And so she was upset again because then she realized that she couldn't go play with her friend upstairs because she had to clean her room, which she had told me she cleaned it the day before. And of dumb me, when your child tells you that they clean their room and they know you're not going to go check it right away, go check it right away. What she did was, she has a big box in her room right now. Anytime a big box comes in the house, Maggie turns it into a playhouse. In her room, she turns it into like those little cubby things. She makes like little playhouses with it, like little clubhouse, and then she'll go like sit in Orion's room with it, sit in the living room with it. Like that's her new like little hangout spot that just travels. She has her own little traveling clubhouse. I blame Mr. Coffee for that and his love of cardboard boxes. Anyways, so she essentially took all the stuff that was on her floor and dumped it into this box. And I'm just like, Maggie, what's all the stuff in this box? And she goes, stuff from my room. I dumped the box out because I'm like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna fly. Y'all, she had food wrappers in there again. Apparently, our little mouse is back. If you don't know, a couple months ago, we had problems with Maggie stealing peanut butter crackers. And so now she is stealing Cheez-Its. So in the little bingo thing I play with my parents, they had a game where you could win Cheez-Its. I won Cheez-Its. They were sent to the house. Maggie loves Cheez-Its. Problem was Maggie wasn't getting as many Cheez-Its as she wanted. So Maggie apparently was stealing them. We're thinking that she's taking and getting up in the middle of the night while everybody's asleep and getting Cheez-Its. So she had like 4 Cheez-It wrappers in there, some a couple of the little stickers that go on apples, a banana peel. The banana peel looked fresh, so she had to have taken that last night. And I'm like, why are you stealing food? Like, you get food whenever you want to. She's like, no, I don't. After dinner, Maggie thinks that anytime she eats food, she needs a snack. If she eats breakfast, can I have a snack? If she eats lunch, can I have a snack? After she eats dinner, can I have a snack? Now, usually we give them a snack after dinner. They get their choice of picking any snack in the house that they want. Whatever we have available, they are able to have one of, obviously. Now, don't get me wrong. Maggie could stand to gain a few pounds, but I also am not trying to have her lose all her teeth either. And I'm trying to promote healthy diet, not, just because you're small, you should eat everything in the house. And right now, her kick is cheese and hot dogs. If you missed live, it was the last thing she asked you guys is to send her all the cheese. She don't need no cheese. Please don't send no cheese here. I'm telling you. So, we stopped buying cheese because she kept stealing the cheese whenever she would go into the refrigerator to get something. So, we stopped buying cheese because we're like, we're going to punish you. Because, that's a normal parenting thing, is to punish your child by not getting them cheese. And you should have saw her on Christmas when she realized that she didn't get cheese for Christmas either. Like, it's a whole hot mess with Maggie. Meanwhile, Orion's just kind of sitting there, and he's like in his own little world. And I'm like, Orion, could you help me out here with your sister? No, that's all you, Mom. Goes back into his room. Orion only comes out when there's drama, and he can sit and eat his popcorn and drink his tea. So I'm like, you know what, little traitor, get out of here. So I have her clean up her room, and she's fussing the entire time. And we're finding like all this stuff in her room that shouldn't have been in her. We're finding like Orion's clothes in her room. She has a giant German Shepherd, and it's a stuffed animal. And it had on like a pair of Orion's underwear for some reason. And then some of her other bears had on some of Orion's clothes. And Orion's like, I was looking for this shirt. Why is it in your room? And she goes, well, because they're boy bears, and they can't wear my clothes. And you're the only other boy in this house. Daddy's clothes are too big. And I'm like, Maggie, are you stealing your brother's clothes? Maggie is the little klepto in the house right now. And so I'm like, now I don't want to take you out in public because God forbid you steal something from the store. And she's like, Mommy, I would never do that. I only steal from you guys because I know you. Y'all, somebody come get her. Somebody come get her, please. 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes. Just come get her. Just give her cheese and all the hot dogs she wants. The other night, I promised her I would make her hot dogs because I was recording a video with Becky's Madness for Crafting. For those of you who don't know, I told you guys I would have Becky make the pepperoni lasagna recipe on her channel because she does What's in the Pot Wednesday. So I recorded that with her on Saturday and promised the kids that if they behaved while I recorded the video, that I would make them their favorite, which is hot dogs and mac and cheese. I'm not eating it, but they wanted it, so I was like, whatever. So I make them the hot dogs and mac and cheese. She yells and fusses because it wasn't the right mac and cheese. I used Velveeta instead of Kraft. It wasn't the right mac and cheese for this mommy. And then I go in there and find out that she had stolen and eaten all the hot dogs. When are you doing this stuff? Like, what am I? And when I see this happening, I'm like, what kind of mother am I that my daughter is stealing hot dogs out of the refrigerator and I'm not noticing that she? But I don't notice because it's not the first thing I go look at in the fridge. Is like, oh, are all the fruits and vegetables still in here? Like, it's not the first thing I look for. So I'm like, when are you taking this stuff? But then I realized there's a lot of times where I'm like going to the bathroom, hanging out in Orion's room. Like there was a time this weekend where I was in Orion's room for a couple hours because he was teaching me how to play Minecraft again. Y'all, look, I suck at playing Minecraft. Don't tell Orion. I'm trying to learn to play with him, but look, listen, I'm going to leave that to Mr. Coffee because I can't get down with that. But there was, like, I spend a lot of time, like, in their rooms and in my room. And so I'm not in the living room to always see her over in the kitchen, because my kitchen is literally right there. Like, literally, I can see, like, all the stuff's over there. So I'm like, yeah, I don't see her, but I feel like I should be, like, better monitoring her. And it doesn't matter how much I monitor her, she always seems to get stuff. And she's not stealing candy. She's stealing stupid stuff, like Cheez-Its. What child steals Cheez-Its? I don't understand this. Like, this parenting thing did not come with a Maggie manual. Oh my God. So yeah, it was just a weird day. And then, of course, neighbor kid from upstairs comes down. Now, neighbor kid, if you were in live on Friday, was the one that I thought saw me naked. Either he was being really, backwards about it or whatever, but he claims I was like, did you see something when you came in here? Is that why you slammed the door? And he's like, no, I slammed the door because Orion was coming down and he asked me, to hold up and wait for him. And I didn't know that they were coming downstairs because they don't tell me anything. Apparently he closed the door because Orion was coming down, and Orion told him to come here and help him carry stuff down the stairs because Orion had taken his hoverboard, his tablet, his cell phone, his game controller, and all this other stuff upstairs. So he asked the kid to help him take and bring it down the stairs. So he slammed the door because he went to go help Orion. So I was like, so you didn't... So it made me feel a little bit better knowing that I didn't have to explain to this child's mother why he was seeing boobs at 13. So it's just like, yay! Yo, this is my life. This weekend was pretty much uneventful. We chilled out. Well, essentially, the kids read books and played with their friends. I don't even know what... I finished my Twilight book. That's what I did. I gotten gifted Midnight Sun from a subscriber. Mr. Coffee bought me the paperback copy. And then one of my subscribers bought me the audiobook. I finished listening to the audiobook this weekend and working on, like, projects, drawing, all that kind of fun stuff. And, so, yeah, it was a pretty uneventful weekend, which was funny because, like, I think Sunday, Mr. Coffee let me sleep in because I haven't been sleeping well. So he's been letting me sleep in on the days where he doesn't have to go into work. So if he doesn't have a job on Saturday and Sunday, he doesn't have to physically go into work. If he doesn't have a job Monday through Friday, he does have to go into work, but not on the weekends. So he didn't have a job on Sunday, so he was home. So he decided he was going to get up with the kids, walk the dogs, give everybody their meds. He even remembered to give Killian his meds. And Maggie, I told him, if you ever don't know what the dosage is, ask Maggie, because Maggie's usually always sitting right there, and she knows what dosage of pills he gets. Like, she knows how many, like, little pill pocket rounds he gets. And so I was like, ask Maggie. So I guess Maggie told him how many this time, because last time she wouldn't tell him. And he got everything situated and everything, and I got to sleep in. Well, then it never fails whenever I get to sleep in. Something happens where I end up having to wake up. And usually it's something in the house, but this time it was my sister. I don't know what she was calling for, honestly. I still have no clue why she was calling. But she calls me, and she's like, why are you still in bed? Now, take it, it's like noon on Sunday, and I'm not usually in bed that late on a Sunday because I have to do laundry and vacuum and dust and all the Cinderella stuff that I have to do. And so I'm like, I got to sleep in today, sort of, until you called me. What do you need? I don't even know if she was called. Like I said, I don't know why she was calling because I don't remember what she all said. I just remember her fussing at me about being in bed at 12 o'clock, and she goes, you got kids. And she didn't realize Mr. Coffee was home. And she's like, what about the kids? You didn't feed them breakfast or anything? Like, you're not out of bed and gotta walk the dogs and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he's here. Like, he can do it. He's not broken. And she's like, oh, is he home? I'm like, yes, he's home. She's like, oh, well, all right then. But you still shouldn't be in bed at 12 o'clock. Now, take it, I'm half asleep, so I didn't pay attention. And then when I finally did open my eyes, I realized that she was laying in bed as well. And I'm like, well, what the hell are you doing in bed? She goes, I ain't got no responsibilities. I'm single. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Must be nice. My sister's not married, and she doesn't have children. So she, like, she works at a hospital, like, doing insurance stuff. So, like, when she's not at work, she's sitting at home with her dog in bed watching Malcolm in the Middle. And then she will call me and quote all of the episodes of Malcolm in the Middle and laugh for about 20 minutes. I don't know what's wrong with the people around me, y'all. I don't know. She'll get obsessed with the show and then call me and talk to me about it. And she'll be like, I know you didn't see it. You're one of those weird people that doesn't watch TV. I don't know why or what happened that I don't watch TV anymore. YouTube happened. That's what happened. Because now I don't need to watch TV because I can watch YouTube. So she will call it, tell me about shows that she likes that she thinks that I should look up on YouTube and all this. And I'm like, I don't want to watch TV shows. I want to be left in peace. I want to sleep in. I want to live my life. But yeah, now I have to try to get a hold of my neurologist because my neurologist actually left the practice or she left the building where I go. I guess she transferred somewhere else. And they assigned me a new neurologist. The problem is the neurologist was supposed to call me so that they can make sure I had enough meds and everything. They never called. I've called 7 times trying to get a hold of them. Can't get anybody. Now, I know it's going to take me going up there and showing my face for them to be like, oh, okay, we can't avoid her now. Now we have to get somebody for her to talk to. Problem is, I'm not trying to go to a hospital during the Rona times and go get checked out. Like, that's not happening. I'm fine. I will deal with the insomnia. So, if nothing else, I'll get a lot of stuff done. And this is my me time. Like, it's very important, especially when you're a stay-at-home parent, to have that me time. You need that time to yourself where you hear nothing but peace and quiet in your own thoughts, and you're not being bugged to be mommy or wife or anything. You can just do your own thing. Now, my problem is I'm greedy, so instead of taking like an hour or two to myself, I'm like, why not take 6 and stay up all night? Yay! Don't do that. I wouldn't recommend it. So yeah, so that was my weekend and today. Hoping tomorrow and the rest of the week gets better. Right now, I would like to say thank you to all those who participated in the 1 hour whip and chat. I think we're up to almost 60 people, a lot of them being new people. So welcome to the community. Welcome. If you guys didn't know, the playlist is already up and active, so you can get a head start on watching them now. You don't have to wait until I post them. I've been already posting them everywhere anyways, so, but if you haven't seen it, I will link it in the description box of this video so that you guys can go check it out. Like I said, there's a lot of new creators. There's some old ones that are, been in the community for a while. So, and this is in no way, shape, or form, my way of self-promoting, or not self-promoting, but promoting sub for sub. If you watch a video and you like the content, you like, what you hear, and you want to check out more from this creator, please feel free to subscribe to them. If it's just something that's not your cup of tea, that's okay. You don't have to leave them a nasty comment or anything. Do keep in mind these people put themselves out here for you and your entertainment. So if you don't like what you see, just, scroll to the next video. That's fine. They'll never know anyways. So yeah. But it takes a lot of courage to put these videos out, so if you could show them some love at least and leave them a nice little thumbs up on their video and keep trucking, that would be wonderful. But yeah, so thank you to everyone who has participated so far. We're still getting entries in. Do keep in mind that the entries for the 1 hour whip and chat challenge ends January 15th after my live. Also, real quick before I let you go, do keep in mind that if you're looking to enter into the 1 hour whip and chat challenge, in your title or in your description box, it must say 1 hour whip and chat challenge. We are not here just so you can get, whatever you're trying to get. And it lets people know that it's part of the 1 hour whip and chat challenge. And you're not only helping to get yourself recognized, that also will help and let the community see who you are and that you're participating in the event, so that other creators can meet other creators and then they can introduce them to their stuff. And that's how you build community. You come together. And right now, in the time that we're living in, we need all the togetherness that we can get. God help us. So please make sure that your whip and chats say 1 hour whip and chat challenge in them in the title or description. I will not add them if they don't. I have had a lady refuse to put it in there, and I'm like, that's fine. I just will not be adding your video. And she got highly upset, and I'm like, tough titty set the kitty, but the milk's still good. I don't know what to tell you. All you have to do is literally put it in the title. And she's like, you're just trying to get clout. And I'm like, yeah, because I totally need it. So yeah, so please just make sure you do that, because it helps me keep track of everything, and everybody's not wondering why there's random whipping chats in here when there's a challenge going on. So yeah. Also, the whipping chats have to be an hour long. I did allow one person that had a 40-minute video to join the Whip and Chat challenge, even though in the title itself it says 1 hour Whip and Chat. I did allow one person to get through with the 40, but I'm not letting anybody else get away with the 40-minute Whip and Chat. No, you will need to do at least 55 minutes to an hour at least. If you want to do more, you know, have at it, but I'm just saying. Either way, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please, you guys already know what to do. Leave them down in the comments section. If you're new to the channel and would like to see more random, crazy videos just like this, please feel free to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified anytime I randomly decide to put up a video. And believe me, it's random. But with that said, look at this, y'all. We're getting ready to complete this section. I will probably complete it before bed, but look at this. Look at that shine. And yes, I have added ABs to this color here, this color here, this color here, and they're sprinkled all throughout that white, so it's gonna shine like nobody's business. We're right at her face, which if I didn't show you what I'm working on, it is called Pride by JoJo's Arts and Diamond Art Club. It's a 112 by 56 round with ABs, but I wasn't happy with the fact that it only had 2 ABs, so I added my own. So we're working about right here right now. So yeah, we're like right here on the kit. So I've already got like 25% of the kit done. So with that said, folks, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going to go edit this and put it up for the Patreons before it goes up tomorrow morning. So thank you guys again so much for watching. You already know, hit the subscribe button and the bell if you haven't already. If you have, welcome back to the crazy. And I will see you guys in the next Whip and Chat. But before that, I always like to remind you, wear your mask, don't touch your face in public, keep your 6 feet, please wash your hands, and always try. Be kind, be courteous, be cool.